10 artists Motown didn't fight for. 10 names that built that label, or should have, and got quietly moved to the back of the line while somebody else got the push, the promotion, the magazine cover. You know the hits. You've been singing them your whole life. What you probably don't know is what happened to these people after Hitsville stopped calling. Some of it's going to make you angry. Some of it is going to surprise you. 10. Barrett Strong. The man whose voice put Motown on the map got written out of his own song, and then it happened again. 1959, Detroit. Berry Gordy is sitting at a piano in a house on West Grand Boulevard with a receptionist named Janie Bradford, and an 18-year-old named Barrett Strong sits down next to him and starts working out a riff. What comes out of that afternoon is Money. That's What I Want. Number 2 R&B. Number 23 pop. Over 1 million copies sold. Before the Supremes, before the Temptations, before any of it, that record is what proved the whole thing could work. Here's what's wild. Barrett Strong's name was on the original copyright registration for that song. First-hand accounts of the session back up his story that he helped write it. Then his name came off. Gordy called it a clerical error. Your love give me such a... Strong couldn't get another hit as a singer. He left in 1961, cut some sides elsewhere, and came back a couple of years later, not as an artist, as a staff writer. Honey, don't get everything is true. And if you've ever watched your work go out into the world with somebody else's name on it, you know exactly what kind of quiet that puts in a man. But look at what he wrote once he sat down behind that desk. But what it don't get, I can't use, I need more. With Norman Whitfield, I heard it through the grapevine. Cloud 9, Ball of Confusion, Just My Imagination, War, Papa Was a Rolling Stone, which won him a Grammy in 1973. And the money credit? It got restored in 1987, then taken off again the following year. He didn't find out about any of that until 2012. By then, it was far too late to recover a dime. In 2004, the Songwriters Hall of Fame put him in. He died in 2023, at 81. The man who sang Motown's first hit ended up writing more of its soul than almost anybody. Number 9, the Marvelettes. 5 teenagers from Inkster, Michigan, placed 4th in their high school talent show and gave Motown its first #1 record. They didn't even win. A teacher pushed for them anyway, got them an audition, and Gordy told them to come back when they had an original song. Georgia Dobbins reshaped a blues tune a friend had written. Brian Holland and Robert Bateman polished it. A postman named Freddie Gorman added a line or two. And in August 1961, Please Mr. Postman came out with Gladys Horton singing lead, 15 years old, terrified in the studio. Fun detail. The drummer on that session was a young Marvin Gaye. It took 15 weeks to climb, but in December 1961, it hit #1 on the Hot 100, the first Motown record ever to do it. Now here's where the story turns, and stay with me, because this one's painful. A couple of years later, Holland, Dozier, and Holland brought the Marvelettes a new song. Gladys didn't like it, thought it was too simple, so it went down the hall to the group everybody at Hitsville was calling the No-Hit Supremes. That song was Where Did Our Love Go? From there, the promotion dried up. Members left: Juanita in 63, Georgiana in 65, Gladys in 67. They got one more real moment with Don't Mess with Bill in 66, and then the company's attention moved on and they just drifted apart. But listen to what their first record did without them. The Beatles covered it in 1963. The Carpenters took it back to number 1 in 1975, making Please Mr. Postman one of a small handful of songs to top the American chart twice by two completely different acts. In 2011, it went into the Grammy Hall of Fame. The Marvelettes went into the Vocal Group Hall of Fame in 2004. They are still not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Not one nomination has landed. Martha Reeves said it plainly. The Marvelettes paved the road for every Motown girl group that came after. The Supremes. Everybody. And if that song came into your house through a kitchen radio on a Saturday morning, you already know how much bigger it was than the people who sang it ever got to be. Real talk, only 9% of you are subscribed. That hurts. We're spending hours digging through archives, fact-checking every detail, bringing these stories back to life. And if you're watching this far, you clearly care. So hit subscribe. It's free and takes 2 seconds. Now, to my subscribers, barely any of you have joined the membership. And honestly, that stings even more. You know the work we put in. You keep coming back. If these videos have ever made you feel something, if this music means something to you, join the membership. It's $1 coffee a month and it's the only way we keep this going. Let's build this together. All right, back to it. Number 8, Brenda Holloway. She opened for the Beatles, and she walked out of Motown in the middle of a recording session with Smokey Robinson. Brenda Holloway came up in Watts, studied violin, sang in church, and in 1964, Motown put out Every Little Bit Hurts, number 13 pop, number 3 R&B. She was 18. Thank you, baby. Dick Clark put her on the Caravan of Stars. She was the first Motown artist to appear live on Shebang, and when the Beatles came through America in 1965, she opened for them. Here's a detail that'll get you. When Brenda went out on her first tour, the struggling little group opening for her was the Supremes. Then, the tide turned. Her second album sat on a shelf for years. Her material started getting handed to other artists, and she watched Diana Ross and the Supremes become the entire company while she got treated, in her own words, like a second-string act. She said since that she came out of Watts not knowing what she was worth. So in 1967, after a boyfriend dumped her, she sat down with her sister Patrice out of pure spite and wrote a song about being happy anyway. So very happy. I'm so glad. Frank Wilson and Berry Gordy came in on it too. Her version went to number 39, respectable, nothing more. Then in February 1969, a horn band from New York called Blood, Sweat and Tears cut a new arrangement of it. You've Made Me So Very Happy went to number 2 on the Hot 100. Spent 3 weeks there, sold 1 million copies, and the album it came from won the Grammy for Album of the Year. You following this? The song Brenda Holloway wrote made her more money over her lifetime than every record she ever sang at Motown. She also went to court and won a fight with Gordy over the rights to it. She quit the business, sang backgrounds for Joe Cocker, married a preacher, raised 3 daughters, and stayed gone for the better part of 2 decades before coming back to performing in the 90s. She said she was confused back then, that she could kick herself for leaving the way she did. And that part gets me, because the industry only remembers your peak. It never remembers the room you were in when you decided you couldn't take it anymore. Number 7, Jimmy Ruffin.
Sadness and confusion.
He auditioned for The Temptations and lost the spot to his own little brother.
Tumbling down, every day heartache seemed to grow.
Jimmy Ruffin came out of Collinsville, Mississippi, a sharecropper's son, and got to Motown early, 1961, on the short-lived Miracle label, working the Ford assembly line during the day.
There's no place for beginning, no. All that's left for me is an...
Then the Army took him. When he came back in 1964, Motown had exploded into something he barely recognized, and the Temptations needed a new voice. They heard Jimmy, then they heard David. They took David.
But for me they come.
So Jimmy went solo on the Soul imprint and got nowhere, until one afternoon he walked in on a session and heard a devastating ballad being worked up for the Spinners. He told the writers the lyric was about him, talked them into one shot.
Little stronger, I can't stand this here. Pain much.
What becomes of the brokenhearted? Number 7 pop, number 6 R&B, number 8 in Britain, and the 14th biggest selling record in America that year. Here's the problem. That's where Motown seemed to stop trying. Look at the pattern. He recorded Everybody Needs Love. It became a hit for Gladys Knight and the Pips. He cut Maria, You Were the Only One. Michael Jackson had the hit. He recorded Beauty Is Only Skin Deep first, and it went to the Temptations, his brother's group. Imagine cutting a song and then hearing it on the radio in your brother's voice. But the story doesn't end there.
Oh, yeah. The roots of love grow up.
Britain never let him go. In 1970, he had 3 separate UK top 10 records. And in 1974, somebody reissued Broken Hearted over there, and it climbed to number 4, higher than it ever got the first time, 8 years later.
As I walk this land of broken dreams.
So he moved, packed up and went to England, where they'd never stopped calling his name. And in 1980, 14 years after his one American top 10, Robin Gibb of the Bee Gees produced an album on him.
Cold and alone, no comfort inside.
The single was Hold On to My Love. Number 10 in America, number 7 in the UK. I'll say it, Jimmy Ruffin might be the most underrated male voice Motown ever had. Some of you are going to disagree with me on that, and I'd love to hear why. He died in 2014, still writing.
I have visions of so many things.
Number 6, Martha Reeves and the Vandellas. She typed up her own Motown contract, and she was among the very first acts cut loose when the company left Detroit. Martha Reeves got in the door as a secretary in the A&R department. When a session came up and the scheduled singers weren't available, she called her own friends in. She named the group herself Van Dyke Street, the road she loved, and Della Reese, the singer she idolized. Then she sat down at a typewriter in the office and typed the contract because she didn't know any other way to make it official. Come and Get These Memories, Heat Wave, Nowhere to Run, Jimmy Mack. And in 1964, the one that outlived everybody, Dancing in the Street, which, and this is the part almost nobody knows, Kim Weston turned down first. Then Holland, Dozier, and Holland walked out of Motown in 1968, and the hits stopped almost overnight. The Supremes were the priority. The company was looking west. In 1972, Motown packed up and moved to Los Angeles. Martha Reeves and the Vandellas were let go. She had a baby only a few months old. She ended up in court just to formally get out of a contract with a label that had already stopped calling. They played their last show together at Cobo Hall in Detroit in December of 1972. Home, where it started. And here's what happened next. She stayed, made 5 solo albums. Then in the 2000s, she did something almost no soul singer of her generation did. She ran for office and served on the Detroit City Council for the city she'd sung about. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, 1995. Dancing in the Street, into the Grammy Hall of Fame in 1999. And in 2024, at a ceremony on Hollywood Boulevard, Berry Gordy, Smokey Robinson, Mickey Stevenson, and Stevie Wonder all stood up and spoke while she got her star. 60 years late, but they stood up. And if that song ever came on at a block party while somebody's uncle turned the speakers toward the street, you already know. It didn't belong to a label, it belonged to us. Number 5, Mabel John. The very first woman Berry Gordy ever signed as a solo artist never had a single hit at Motown. It's about to come to an end. 1958. Before it was even called Motown, it was Tamla. Mabel John was already working for Gordy as an assistant, learning the business from the inside, getting coached by him personally. Getting myself back together. She was the older sister of R&B star Little Willie John. In 1959, she made her professional debut at Detroit's Flame Show Bar, opening for Billie Holiday. It's about to come to me. Yeah, yeah. Motown put out her records. Who wouldn't love a man like that? Actions speak louder than words. Take Me, with the Temptations singing behind her. Real blues, grown woman blues. And here's the problem. Motown was becoming a teenage pop factory. The Miracles, the Marvelettes, the girl groups. Mabel John sounded like a woman who'd already lived through something, and the machine had no idea what to do with that. In 1962, Gordy dissolved her contract. She said it plainly since. Berry got busy with the business, and she found herself with no writer concentrating on her the way he once had. So she went and sang behind Ray Charles as a Rayolette. And in 1966, Stax Records in Memphis gave her one more shot. Now here's the part that turns your stomach in the best way. It's about to end. Isaac Hayes and David Porter overheard her talking, venting really, about catching her husband running around on her. They took what she said and built a song out of it. Your Good Thing is About to End. Number 6, R&B. Crossed all the way over to pop radio, Lou Rawls covered it and took it into the pop top 20. Etta James cut it. Bonnie Raitt cut it. Robert Cray was still cutting it in 2014.
Look out, your good thing is about.
One song, the only major hit of her life, and it came out of the worst week of her marriage.
All alone. When other men said they.
Then she went back to the Raelettes, left music entirely, became a minister in Los Angeles, and founded an outreach that fed and clothed people who had nothing.
Getting myself back together.
She died in 2022 at 91, and she and Berry Gordy stayed friends until the end. She always said they were family. That's a kind of grace most of us couldn't manage.
'Cause somebody else will.
Number 4, the Isley Brothers. Before they ever signed to Motown, the kid playing guitar in their band was Jimi Hendrix. That's not a legend. Hendrix played with the Isleys in the mid-60s, lived in their house, and left for good in 1965, right about the time they signed to Berry Gordy. The Isleys weren't kids. Shout came out in 1959, Twist and Shout in 1962, the one the Beatles took worldwide. They arrived at Motown as veterans. And in 1966, Motown gave them This Old Heart of Mine Is Weak for You, number 12 pop, number 6 R&B, a beautiful record. Then nothing. No follow-up top 40. Because inside that building, the Temptations, the Miracles, and the Four Tops were getting the promotion, the producers, the push, and the Isleys got slotted in as a second-tier act. 3 grown men with a decade of hits behind them, waiting in line. Meanwhile, in Britain, they were selling out rooms, bigger over there than they'd ever been at home. So when the contract ran out in late 1968, they didn't renegotiate. Gordy let them walk, and they went and dusted off T-Neck, their own label, which they'd started years before Motown ever called. January 1969. A&R Studios, New York. Ronald Isley came home from dropping his daughter at school with a melody in his head. His brothers filled in the rest. They recorded it in 2 takes with Wilson Pickett's touring band and a 16-year-old Ernie Isley playing bass for the first time on record. It's Your Thing. Number 2 on the Hot 100. Number 1 R&B for 4 weeks. 1 million copies. And the whole song is one long message back to a boss who wanted to control everything about them. They didn't write a diss record. They wrote a Declaration of Independence. And it outsold anything Motown ever did with them. Gordy threatened to sue, then dropped it. In February 1970, the Isley Brothers became the first former Motown act ever to win a Grammy. If you've ever quit somewhere and had your best year immediately after, you already know that feeling. It's not revenge, it's just relief that finally has somewhere to go. Number 3, Florence Ballard. She founded the group, she named it, and one night in Las Vegas, she was told that if she walked out on that stage, she'd be thrown off it. Florence Ballard came out of the Brewster Projects in Detroit, 8th of 13 children. She pulled Mary Wilson and Diana Ross together. In the early days, the three of them traded leads. She had a huge voice, a huge laugh, and she was the one who talked to the fans. 16 top 40 hits, 10 number ones.
I see reflections of you and me. Reflections.
By 1966, Gordy had made his decision, and everything was being built around Diana. Florence felt the ground going out from under her, and she started drinking, and the drinking gave them the reason they needed.
The way life used to be. Reflections of
July 1967, the Flamingo Hotel, Las Vegas. She felt a hand on her arm before the show. She said later that Gordy told her if she went on stage, he'd throw her off it. She didn't go. She said she couldn't fight anymore.
now, no love to shield me. Trapped in a
Cindy Birdsong changed into her clothes and walked out under the lights. Florence Ballard was 24 years old. Then it got worse.
life used to be. Reflections of the love.
With no lawyer of her own, she signed away her past and her future as a former Supreme for $15,000. Somebody sent a Cadillac to the house afterward.
Seems like everything I see reflects I heard that used to be.
$15,000 and a car against a catalog that is still earning money in this very minute. ABC Records gave her a solo deal. 2 singles. Both died. She was dropped.
Just right before my eyes, my world is turned to dust.
An attorney eventually sued and recovered $160,000 for her. She bought a small house for her 3 daughters, and by the mid-70s, that money was gone too, and she was on welfare in the city that made her famous.
Reflex I heard I can't control. 'Cause of
She was actually pulling it back together. She'd been on stage again. People around her said she sounded good. On February 22, 1976, Florence Ballard died of a heart attack. She was 32 years old.
and wealth, just a handful of promises are all that's left.
In 1988, she became the first woman ever inducted posthumously into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, 12 years after she was buried.
Through the mirror of my mind, through these tears that I'm crying.
Whether anybody in that building could have stopped what happened to her, I've got my opinion. I'll let you have yours.
After all the nights I said alone.
Number 2, Gladys Knight and the Pips.
He said he's going back to find.
They gave Motown the best-selling single in the company's history to that point, and they still felt like the opening act. Gladys Knight didn't even want to sign. She said so directly. The Pips wanted it, she went along, and she never believed the label would give them their due. They landed on the Soul imprint in 1966, and by the next year, they'd cut a Norman Whitfield and Barrett Strong song called I Heard It Through the Grapevine. Number 1 R&B for 6 weeks. Number 2 pop, 2.5 million copies. The biggest selling record Motown had ever released. Marvin Gaye recorded it first. Motown shelved his version, handed the song to Gladys, let her make it a monster, and then, a year later, released Marvin's anyway. His went to number 1 for 7 weeks and became the version the whole world remembers.
He's come to know.
Her record didn't just get beaten. It got buried by her own label. They kept going. The Nitty Gritty, Friendship Train, If I Were Your Woman, and then Neither One of Us wants to be the first to say goodbye. Number 2 pop, number 1 R&B, and a Grammy in 1973. Their biggest Motown record. It was also their last one. They were already gone. They signed with Buddah in 1973, and their second release for the new label was a song Jim Weatherly originally wrote as Midnight Plane to Houston, Gladys picked the tempo up. The Pips put those call and response answers behind her. Midnight Train to Georgia, the first #1 pop single of their entire career. A Grammy, a gold album, then I've Got to Use My Imagination, best thing that ever happened to me, the Claudine soundtrack with Curtis Mayfield. Everything Motown told them they couldn't be, they became in about 18 months. They later took Motown to court over unpaid royalties. And I'm going to say the thing that splits every comment section.
Not so long ago.
Gladys Knight's Grapevine is the better record. It's rawer, it's angrier, and she got there first. I know Marvin's is the classic. I've made my peace with being outvoted. #1, The Spinners. While their label mates were riding to the show, these men were driving them there. The Spinners formed in 1954 in Ferndale, just north of Detroit. They came to Motown in 1964, almost by accident. Harvey Fuqua sold his Tri-Fi label to his brother-in-law Berry Gordy, and the whole roster came with it. Then 8 years happened. Because they had no hits, Motown put them to work. Road managers, chaperones for other acts, chauffeurs, shipping clerks in the back, grown men with families, folding boxes and driving cars for a company they were signed to as artists. Henry Fambrough explained it about as plainly as it can be explained. They didn't have their own producer the way the Supremes and the big stars did. They got the songs nobody else wanted, or whichever producer was trying to break in that week. If you've ever taken a job you knew was beneath what you could do and smiled through it because the alternative was nothing, you understand exactly what those 8 years cost them. Then in 1970, Stevie Wonder wrote and produced a record for them called It's a Shame. #14 pop, #4 R&B, their first chart action in 5 years, and Motown still didn't build on it. Aretha Franklin, the biggest singer Detroit ever produced, and the one who never worked for Motown a day in her life, found out their contract was running out. Stax wanted them. Avco wanted them. Aretha told them to go to Atlantic. They took her advice. Atlantic paired them with Tom Bell in Philadelphia. Philippe Wynne took over the leads. And then it just poured out. I'll Be Around. Could It Be I'm Falling in Love? Then came You with Dionne Warwick, #1 in 1974, The Rubber Band Man. 17 top 40 hits, 18 gold and platinum albums, from the guys who used to load the truck. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame nominated them in 2012, nothing. 2015, nothing. 2016, nothing. In November of 2023, the Spinners were finally inducted. Henry Fambrough, the last surviving founding member, the man who'd been waiting since 1954, was there. He died 3 months later, in February of 2024. He was 85. He got to see it. Barely, but he got to see it.